Top 10 most essential historical grimoires. These are going to be grimoires that are referenced in later grimoires and in modern grimoires, and that you kind of need to at least know about, if not necessarily own. I like to have these things, so I've got a few of them, certainly not all of the ones that I would like to have. I'm going to start off with a few special mentions. Okay, these are not part of my top 10, but nevertheless, it's important to know that they exist. These are the Bibliothèque Bleue, French grimoires between the 15th and 18th centuries. Some of these were being carried door to door by maybe some ruthless salespeople to people in the deep rural areas of France. And I guess the Black Pullet, which I haven't reviewed yet, but I'm looking forward to review for you, by Black Letter Press, is a rather dark black magic grimoire. Then we've got the Red Dragon. Its other name is the Grand Grimoire, the Grand Grimoire. It's also quite well known, lovely Black Letter Press edition. I do have a review of that. This is another of the Bibliothèque Bleue grimoires, and it's the Grimorium Verum, and this is Jake Stratton Kent's essay on it, which includes the text of the grimoire itself, but also Stratton Kent's thoughts on it. And this is the paperback edition, Bibliothèque Rouge. You can see that the Scarlet Imprint kind of borrowed the name of the Bibliothèque Bleue for their cheaper or less expensive, should I say, paperback editions. There is a fourth one which is in the works at the moment from Black Letter Press, called Le Petit Albert, and that's another one of the Bibliothèque Bleue grimoires that are often referenced, so kind of need to know about them. So on to my top 10, little preview there for you, and this being the first one, let's say number 10 in my list, the Sworn Book of Honorius, or Liber Iuratus Honorii. This is the origin of the Sigillum Aemeth Dei of John Dee, which he used to contact the angels. This being the highest representation of God. And so this is it's a fascinating book. It's mainly prayers, but there are instructions in the early pages on what these prayers can be used for, and how the rituals might work, and so on and so forth. Check out my review on that. All my reviews are going to be linked in the descriptions down below. Then in number 9, I'd suggest the 6th and 7th books of Moses. Simply because it's so well used, right? I've seen so many books, so many modern grimoires that have used these beautiful sigils and circles of evocation. Just a really beautiful book, and some rather essential diagrams, symbols that once again I've seen all over the Gallery of Magic, books of magic, which once again, strong recommendation. My number 8. Sorry, this being 10, this being 9. My number 8 would be the Greek magical papyri, which I don't own a translation of, but it's probably one of the oldest sources of magical texts. And the headless ritual or bornless ritual has its origins here. We can read the original bornless ritual, which prefaces Aleister Crowley's rituals of the Goetia. It's all in here. There are lots of very nice rituals in here and magical workings. In number 7, I would suggest actually the original full works of John Dee, of course. If I had it, I had bought it and it never arrived. And by the time we'd sorted out all of the shipping, it was no longer in print. And so I was never able to buy that. It's now available at very, very high prices. However, Enochian Vision Magic, this is the old edition that I have on for the Kindle by Milo Duquette, explains everything that you might want to know that was in those complete works. If I remember correctly, the 5 books of mystery, which are currently in print by Joseph Peterson, they cover the origins of the Table of the Art and of the Sigillum Dei Emeth. And if you want to know about the calls to the ethers, that would be rather in the a true and faithful account of what happened between John Dee and some spirits, something along those lines, by Merrick de Casaubon, which has recently been updated in modern languages with the Latin parts translated by Dr. Stephen Skinner. So you can check that out. I think it's called the Spiritual Diaries of Dr. John Dee, or something along those lines. But this Enochian Vision Magic, there's a new edition that came out this year by Lon Milo Duquette, actually explains all about all of those aspects and gives a very reader-friendly approach to them. Although I would suggest that it's well known that Enochian magic is kind of what you approach towards the end of your magical career rather than the beginning, since it does assume that you are advanced and things allegedly can go quite wrong. Moving on to number 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. The Picatrix, this being the illustrated edition. It's kind of my favorite, although, as you know, I had to rebind this. It's astrological magic, and it's presented in 4 books, I believe it is. And it's full of good sigils and good workings, and it's considered to be the origin of the Necronomicon. Some people say that that's probably where H.P. Lovecraft got his ideas for the Necronomicon. It was certainly originally an Arabic grimoire, the name being... it's completely gone. What's it called? It'll come back to me. I'll write it down for you in the comments. I know that it's getting a new translation, which I'm very much looking forward to. Hayat al-Hakim, or I think that's what it's called. Yeah, the Arabic version which was translated into Latin, and which was from there translated into the English, right? Okay, so Picatrix. In number 5, we've got the Arbitel. It's probably my favourite. You probably know that from watching my review of it. These are evocations of planetary spirits. It's very nice, very approachable. These are not heavy demon workings, but rather working with very pleasant, approachable spirits. The working is very simple. It's just a call, basically. A few prayers and performed at the right time of day, at the on the right day. And again, these spirits or intelligences are referenced very regularly in later grimoires. Again, a fantastic contribution by Joseph Peterson there, without whom I'm sure we wouldn't be having anything like the boom in esoteric learning that we're experiencing today. Next, we've got the fourth book of occult philosophy of Agrippa, although I would specifically direct you to the Heptameron of Peter de Abano, which is contained within. It's the fourth book is a compilation of books, of which one or possibly two are actually attributed to Agrippa. There's a series of the 4 books of occult philosophy by Agrippa, which has just had its first volume published by Black Letter Press. Beautiful editions. Let me just give you a preview of that. I want to show it to you very soon, but let me show you what book 1 looks like. How cool is that? Yeah, I'll do a proper review for that very soon. All right, anyway, little teaser there. If I can get to the Heptameron, here it is, the Heptameron. I think that the working of the Heptameron is probably one of the more approachable workings, and it's very well written, it's very well laid out, it's very clear, and I think that if you wanted to approach a historical version of calling spirits, this would probably be the most achievable one. It's certainly very nice if you're wanting to put things into practice yourself. In the third position, got the Book of Abba Melon. Again, can't recommend this enough. This is absolutely indispensable. The Book of Abba Melon version that was translated. What was his name? Mathers. Samuel Mathers was flawed. It only had 3 books out of the 4, and the magical squares in the back were incomplete, and so on and so forth. George Den has made this new translation directly from the German original, rather than from a poor French translation, which was Samuel Mathers' problem, right? He was working from a flawed document to start off with, and this is absolutely quintessential. It's, if you don't know about it, do check out my review. It's about the instructions on how to achieve knowledge and conversation of your holy guardian angel, which is the very first thing that is recommended that any magician does or do before attempting anything else. And that's exactly how this starts. It starts with an 18-month ritual, quite a grueling one, which has been attempted by few, succeeded by fewer, and has been some replacements for some of these have been suggested in other books that I talk about in my review of this. But absolutely indispensable, and referenced pretty much regularly in all other magical works. All right, in number 2 we've got the Goetia of Dr. Rudd, being the Lemegeton, right? This is the Lemegeton, but this is probably the world's favorite version with the thwarting angels, although some people, such as Jake Stratton-Kent, would suggest that the thwarting angels are not necessary. These calls to demons have these angels keeping them in check, so that they don't go get out of hand, right? If the magician calling them is not as skilled or as used to doing this kind of stuff and careful, right? Then having those thwarting angels there to make sure that they behave themselves is certainly a bonus. Right, the Goetia of Dr. Rudd, certainly the most recommended book on the Goetia. And finally, my number one is the Clavis or Key to the Magic of Solomon. And this is the lovely edition by Joseph Peterson, with the original Hockley manuscript facsimile inside. It's for making talismans. It's for calling spirits. There are some experiments for calling some of the spirits of the Goetia, some of the more benevolent ones, at least. Halfway through the book here, we've got an experiment for the spirit Berto, and another one for the spirit Vassago, and so on. It really gives so much detail on the right times, the right days, the right spirits, and you can see that it takes up some of these intelligences from the Arbatel that I showed you earlier on. All of these really reference each other, but I did want to show you these 10 kind of basic ones that everything else references. So if you know about these 10, then you're in safe hands, really. You don't have to own them, of course, but knowing that they exist and knowing the difference between them. You might have heard about the lesser key. That's this. This is the lesser key of Solomon, known as the Lemegaton. I think it was a mistranslation. Anyway, Lemegaton, Goetia, lesser key of Solomon. It's this one. This is the greater key, or the clavis, or the key of the magic of Solomon. They're referred to in similar ways. There's some crossover, but this is mainly making talismans, and this is mainly evoking demons. There we go. So that's a little overview. Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you found it useful, and to comment down below and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you again. Thanks ever so much for watching, and see you very soon.